I mean, it shows we're live over there. So I don't know. Like,
We'll find out afterwards.
aha, there we go. It is. Now, whether
Yeah.
it's
I'm going to close some browser windows. It says we're live on Instagram and
perfect. Yep,
should
we're
be
good.
live to my Substack. Oh, now we're live on YouTube.
Yep.
I just heard it.
Yep.
The sound is pretty decent. Actually, I'm still pretty freaking loud. Turn myself down a little.
Yeah, turn down for what?
What up, people? We're figuring stuff out. It'll probably crash our computers in about 2 seconds here, but we should be live in about 4 different places at various qualities and speeds and delays. The only chat that we can see now is YouTube. We're not discouraging other people from chatting. If you're on any of the 17 social medias that we're trying right now, drop us a comment and let us know you can see it so we can see it afterwards. But yeah, it's a test. David couldn't make it today. He's off doing bigger and better things, aka family stuff. But
is that better though?
Chad, not one to shy away from controversy, said this was a good time to talk shit about everyone and everything we hate about comics.
Yeah.
So David's usually the positive one, so we kicked him out. And now we're here to talk some mess.
Yeah, let's talk some shit about David Whalen. So David Whalen is a guy.
He's 50 years old. He still has his hair, and that's really annoying.
It's just really annoying. He lives with his mom, and he lives with. I don't know. I can't talk shit about David. He's really nice.
It's difficult. He makes it a challenge.
It makes it a challenge to say anything bad about him because he's nice. So why am I quitting Big Con? So that's what it looks like that it says. Follow up live with the Cosmos Comic Collective. Why am I quitting Big Cons? Looks like that appears to be the topic that you want to discuss today, John.
Yeah, I wanted to do a follow-up because, I'll be honest, in all the 15 years of running a mailing list, and now that mailing list is on Substack and social media, boy, have I never gotten a response to anything I've ever written. Not any comic, not anything like this. 50 comments, tons of shares. I'm like, what is like, all I said was, I'm still a small publisher after all these years and I didn't make much money and I had a good time, but I just wanted to kind of, maybe talk it out a little bit because sometimes in text things get misinterpreted. So first off, happy anniversary, Chad. Sorry David couldn't be here. We just passed the 1-year anniversary of the Cosmos. So I was kind of hoping we could all be here for that celebration, but you know what? It's kind of that's kind of a good example of life in general right now. Things don't always work out how you want. And similarly, I was at one of the biggest, probably the third or fourth biggest convention in the country at C2E2, the Chicago Comics and Entertainment Expo. I have tabled there probably 3 or 4 times in the past, but I hadn't since 2017. I took a little bit of a break from comics around 2018 to 2020, came back, started planning some things in 2020, came back in 21, and I kind of have avoided the big conventions, to be honest with you. So please, that's a disclaimer to say anything I talk about, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not one of these grinders who travels around the country. I've never done 12 conventions a year. I mean, the most I think I've ever done shows is like 6. Well, maybe more than that with the small ones, but I just, it's just not part of my repertoire for, being a small publisher. But this year I was like, well, I've got a lot of new books. I haven't been there in a few years. I got offered a table late because of course they often keep the locals in the wings until somebody cancels. And then they know, locals will be easier to fill the tables with. So no shade thrown there. That's just kind of the way their business model works. And I said, the price came through, Chad, and it was, if you don't know, $500. This is up about $75 from the last time I did it. And the last time I think I was offered was 2 years ago late and I wasn't able to. It was like $475. So, as per usual, everything goes up.
That's for the table. Of course,
that's just for the table, just to be in the room, nothing else. No power, no VIP Wi-Fi, none of that stuff they charge you extra for.
Yep.
So I said, well, I have a family obligation on Sunday. If I can find someone, maybe they can take the table Sunday. I'll take it Friday and we'll split on Saturday. Seems like a reasonable way to kind of control costs. Get somebody else there on Saturday that's the busiest day to maybe help out. I have a local buddy named John Dudley, who's an up-and-coming writer as well. I said, well, you're also named John, so I guess we can hang out. And he was eager to split with me. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. I don't want to say I went in with a negative attitude. I really thought this year, okay, this is going to be the year. I'm not planning to make $10,000 on the weekend, but if I can make a couple hundred each day, John can make his money back. We'll all be happy. And spoilers, that just didn't happen.
That for a lot happen.
If you want to read my Substack, you can kind of go through it. But I'm not saying all that to discourage other people, right? Like I want people to go to conventions and be successful, but I do feel like if your primary source, and I think we all know this, and maybe it's a cliche at this point, but if your primary source is comics and particularly single issue comics, it's a grind, right? Because even if you get 20 sales and they're $5 or $6 comics, it's not going to add up real quick. So I have the specialty items. I have the plushie. I have some stickers. I have a trade paperback. So, I have some other anthologies that I've been in that are, decently priced. So I'm like, if I can move like 3 or 4 of these items, I'll be fine. And, it just didn't happen. Right. Could I have grinded out, and really, hustled some people at the table for 4 or 5 more sales? Probably. But that's just kind of not the approach I always take with these things. And, I ended up walking away, of course, in the negative.
Right.
But again, as I said in the article, I don't go just for that reason either, right? Like I got to see my friends and I got to table next to awesome people and meet some new and old friends and table with them. So there's so much that goes into a convention, and it was my local show. So it wasn't like it was, a huge thing. I'm 35 minutes away from the city, so not a huge deal. But when you count like load in time on Thursday, I went down, because it's a big convention center. So you want to set up early, couple hours there, then Friday all day, Saturday all day. I might as well just work like a second job or something. Just paid for the material that I gave away. You know what I mean? And that's kind of just how I feel. If your primary objective is to sling comics, especially single issues, I just think we're just lost. Even at this, which should be the biggest regional in the area comic show, right? It's just not anymore. Everyone's there for autographs and prints and toys, as my kids were when they came Saturday as well.
Yeah.
So, and I don't begrudge anyone for that. I don't begrudge how C2E2 sets up. They know what's going to bring people in, right? They've been doing
they've set up, from what I've understand, because the last time I've been there, like I've only been there as like a human. I've seen that they've set up the same way like every year, unless they've set up like where it's your more like promotional stuff is in the front, like your statue, your like your models, your statues, all that kind of stuff, or your memorabilia and all that. And then as you go, it's like then there's the toy people, and then to the right there's Artist Alley and all them. And last time I think they had tattoo people.
And they did again this year. I actually missed it walking in, but yeah, they had about 8 to 12 guys and gals doing tattoos.
Huh.
You could tell right away when you walked into the show, we haven't had really any publisher presence in years. I would say at least even before COVID. Marvel pulled out, DC pulled out, Image pulled out.
This year,
I think the biggest one we had this year was, gosh, I don't even remember. I don't think we had Massive. We didn't have Boom. We didn't have Oni. We didn't have Dark Horse. So, again, it's in the middle of the country, so I totally get that. These places can't spend 10 grand, fly their whole team out here. But that was a big thing. A few years ago, they actually had a lot of the voice actors signing right at the front of the show. They tried that to start. This year, it was a lot of gaming, a lot of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon dealers, less comic vendors than usual. So it's kind of making its transition almost to feel like a fan expo show. They really emphasize. They didn't really have a lot of big panels, like they usually announce a bunch of stuff at C2E2. Didn't seem like that. We had Elizabeth Olsen signing, CM Punk, some other cool celebrities, and that's kind of where
CM Punk's been there before.
And the Artist Alley is huge. That is one great thing about C2E2. If you want a big Artist Alley, it is the show to come to. It's big. It's easy to access. They're all nicely laid out. It's right by the food court if you need to sit down for a minute. It's huge. I was in row W. It goes all the way A to Z, and there's a small authors island close to it. And so I don't feel like they're not emphasizing Artist Alley. I know a lot of people say, should Artist Alley be at the front or the middle of the convention? I think, again, these places know the 75% of the fans are coming for the stuff and the celebrities.
Right.
So I don't begrudge them for setting it up the way they do.
It's not really going to change anything.
And it's actually probably better because there's so many aisles to walk through. You would take forever at the front. You would just clog up the whole front of the convention. Everybody walking through the aisles. And I felt like the traffic was good. Now, there was several other big conventions around the country that weekend, which we only have one big convention center that could host C2E2 in Chicago. And I think that is part of what the show has struggled with. They never have a consistent weekend. They always have to change. And I do feel like a lot of that is McCormick Place. When they have their car shows and other things, C2E2 has to kind of fit in around that.
Right.
Whereas other ones like New York seems like it's always in October, San Diego always in June. So I think that might help. But yeah, certainly there's just a lot of big shows and medium shows all around the country now. And I think that makes it hard, for the planning with C2E2.
Then that's how it kind of was with Fantasticon as well in Toledo. Was there were 2 other conventions like in that general vicinity of that weekend. Like it was Cinemassacre and then Cinema Massacre or something, and then the other one was some other show. And it was still like it was a lot of just stuff. Like there was barely any comics. I mean, there were comic people, like there were comic guests and everything. There was a pretty good. I would say there was a decent. There wasn't like anybody who was a big draw to it. It was a lot more indie people. But other than that, though, it was mostly like toy stuff. Like a lot of it was toys or prints and Funko Pops and all that. And it's like, why bother doing conventions anymore? But unfortunately, it's like, well, why bother? It's because that's like one of your bigger promotional marketing tools, like is doing the conventions. So why won't you do a 3-day con anymore? Like why?
Well, again, for me, I kind of went in already. I was behind the 8 ball, right? Because they let me in late, I already had some obligations, and not everybody has that, right? I like being around my family. I have an aging mother who I help, care for and stuff like that. So it makes my being able to plan more difficult if I don't know, far in advance if something's going on. So that was part of it already, right? Like I was already like, well, now I can't really spread the sales out over 3 days. I really have to, I can only be there a couple days. Then I have to actually take my setup down Saturday to give the table to the other gentleman. So it's just logistically, it's very difficult when you work full time and, you have other obligations. I just think it just kind of made me feel going in that I felt like, not like disappointed from the start. I had fun the whole time, but I was always kind of thinking about, well, I'm spending time away from the kids. They're off school for spring break. I'm not hanging out with them. Oh, I should have, I have this home repair project at home. I should be helping my wife out.
Right. There's other obligations that you could have been doing that felt more rewarding.
Exactly. Yeah. Just feel like a better use of your time. And again, I'm fortunate because I have gainful employment. My wife is gainfully employed. So I don't have to do this full time. So I get to weigh those options, right? I get to say, well, we don't want to speak in like tech bro talk, but it's all about, for me, as I've gotten older in comics, it's about return on investment.
Right.
even doing a show like this with you, I have to weigh, is my 2 hours of time that I could be spending doing, leisure stuff, helping around the house, is that worth it? And to me, for something like this, getting to know you, talking to people, it's worth it. But if I have to think about a show where I spent 12 hours with travel on Friday, 12 hours Saturday, multiple hours Thursday. Now we're getting into like, well, again, not everything in your life has to be down to that, but I really do think it's a decent way of thinking about it, and not return on investment. Like, I need $1 for every second I spend here. More like, again, your time is a limited resource in general, right? As being being a meat suit skeleton that's going to decompose someday, and just being a dad and everything else. You have to kind of weigh those things, right? And to me, even like, especially traveling cons, like to spend that time away and be on the road.
That's not very far from you, is it?
No.
Oh,
but one of my buddy who tabled with me was like, "Oh, I did really well at Baltimore Con," and he's like, "The table was cheap and I did well." So that would be one in the future. I know our mutual friend Tim Fling has said really good things about it.
Yeah,
that's like one where you go, okay, now, maybe the kids can come with me for the weekend and they can be part of the show, and then we can make that, because I'm not stressing about the money as much because the table's cheaper. Would that be more worth it? You kind of take all the factors, and then you sit down and say, is this worth it for me? And I do, the only thing really that I hate about not having as much time and not being able to focus on this full time is I want the artists to get their return. I do take very much pride in paying my artists whatever their page rate is, but I also want them to see the books get out there, right? I'd love to, not just for myself. I want to tell Dan, oh, I sold 100 copies this weekend, and I handed it out to some publisher or something. I want to use it as advertising for them, and then they get future work or whatever. So that's the only thing I really begrudge in all this, is I feel like I'm good with where I am in the comics community if I just kind of focus on, online sales, crowdfunding, small shows here and there. I'd be okay with that. But the only thing, again, is that if I stop the grind, then I'm not helping these guys and gals that have helped create these comics really get the word out there. So that's part of it too. Could I have been home, lettering a project that I had to do, or, promoting books, or could I have just sunk that cost into handing out free product at the show, and kind of use that as an advertising tool, but it was really, we don't want to just focus on the negative. I just kind of wanted to, speak my piece a little bit.
No, I get that. And that's how it was and because like when I was at Fantasticon and everything, I was there, it was 2 days, and those are fine. Like, I'm okay with it, but it's like an hour drive. So, there and back, it's 2 hours. And then I'm there from, 10 a.m. to 5.
Right.
Only to break even or make a little bit money over. Now, luckily, the table was cheap. Yeah. But it's also the same thing with a convention that is closer to you, like C2E2, it's $500.
Yeah.
Motor City is $400, and I'm only 15 minutes away. But it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get up, I'm going to spend $400, I'm going to sit there and with no guarantee of anything happening. And granted, as you said, we're not here to be negative about it. Right. It's just logistically speaking, I could be doing something else than spending $400 to sit on my butt. I could be doing that for free at home and doing more like, promotional material or anything like that. Doesn't really cost me anything except my time, or spending time with my wife watching a movie. Now, granted, on the flip side of that, though, you do get to see people you haven't seen in a while, or just you get to meet new people. You get to have fun. You get to be around, mutual people who like the same thing as you. And that's always a lot of fun. You get to eat, drink, be merry, and it's like a big party. So if you take it into that perspective, like you're spending money to go to have a big party, then that's great. And now, no more power to people. Cause I've heard that before. Like, well, just look at it as a marketing tool. Like, just look at it as a marketing promotion. You're only 15 minutes away. So just do it as if you're, just marketing. I'm like, well, okay, but that also doesn't pay the bills.
Right. Because let's be realistic. Like, we all, people sometimes take comments when I make like that as being like overly negative, or you don't have passion for it, John. It's like, no, after this many years, I'm a realist, right? Because yes, we all have passion, but like you said, passion don't pay the bills, and missing a mortgage payment or having to tell your spouse, I can't pay the car payment this month because I went to Fantasticon that's not going to set you up for success either, right?
Right. That's not realistic.
Right. So you have to be reasonable. Like you said, okay, if Fantasticon is $100 and I can make $75 and hand out, my business card to 20 people and meet 10 industry professionals and have a good time, then that's worth it. But if my expenditure is 500 plus gas and parking and everything else, I'm going to make back 400. And for me, really, honestly, where I'm at in life in general, I want to be the one walking through the artist alley, meeting these people. When I stand behind the table, I'm like, I want to be out there. Like, it's fun. A guy came up to me he had bought all 7 Drumsticks of Dooms and Kickstarters, and he was excited for bring it to me in person and have me sign it.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. That was so fun to me. He had Dan sign it because he was right down. Dan Doherty was right down from me. So he was excited to have both of our signatures live on the book. But I also like doing that the other way. I like seeing my friends and getting their new books. And I did not have a single moment I felt like, because the traffic was good, even if the people weren't buying as much, I had to be, ready to go. So
great.
I think if we're kind of focusing on, maybe some tips for people if they're thinking about doing big shows and stuff like that, have a little bit of a plan for your downtime. I think that works better with artists, right? Because they can sketch while they're having downtime. Or I probably should have been a little bit smarter and said, okay, I'm going to bring a stack of books. And when it's slow, or I go to, I'm walking to the washroom or I'm going to get something to eat, I'll bring a couple books and hand them out, to people. Hey, have you heard of my new book? It's in retail stores now. Or, hand out some cards or maybe make a little mini comic or something like that. So maybe thinking of different ways that I can then use that time better to make it feel like, okay, I accomplished, something else besides sales at this show. I think that's something I still need to think about more before I go into the show and say, okay, what is my plan across the 2 days outside of sales? How am I promoting the company? How am I advertising it? And think of stuff like that.
Right. No, you're right. And really, if you want our complete tips as you sip on your vodka, you should. Is that vodka?
No.
Oh, is it just water?
It's just water.
That's what somebody who is sipping vodka would say. It's just water.
It's funny that you went straight for vodka. Like, I don't think I've ever taken a drink in front of you.
No, I don't think. Truthfully, I don't even think you drank.
Rarely.
So, yeah, I don't. Truthfully, I'm drinking water today. So
it's all right. I'm in recovery mode from the weekend.
Yeah, I'm not. I had a margarita at dinner. So I'm kind of like, I'm gonna drink water. But anyway, to your point on that, yeah, when it comes to like marketing and promoting, I would say definitely, like, even if traffic's slow, when somebody walks by, just hand them your business card. Like, I literally will go, hey, my business card's a coaster and it has my QR code on it.
That's
and awesome. That, like that, you just hand them and people are like, oh, cool, I could use a coaster, because anybody can use a coaster. But it is that thing of what you're going to do with your downtime. And sometimes what I would do too is just, if there's somebody near me that like is doing comics or, any art that I think is cool, I just talk with them to like kind of pick their brain on things, or kind of get a lay of the land.
And I always tell the people tabling next to me, don't be offended. I respect, you work hard for your money, but I always offer them to trade. If they see something they like at my table, let's do a swap. Then you don't feel like, anybody has to. And again, I offer it to them and let them know, of course, I'm happy to pay you for your product. But did want to kind of offer that. So that's always fun to me, because that's something intangible that, like, you don't have to worry about money changing hands. You get to bring home new stuff. So I always try to do stuff like that. I handed out flyers this year for a small comic show called Comic Books and Music that we're putting on in Lockport, Illinois.
You're putting it on?
I am helping Dan Doherty co-run it, because, as you know, I'm a terrible show promoter and only run horrible conventions.
You haven't invited me as a guest?
Well, it's pretty small. So I don't think we were just talking about traveling. I don't know if you'd want to come 6 hours.
How small? How many people?
Probably about 12 vendors and 2 bands. So we're kind of mixing the comics and the music. Yeah. It's in Lockport, Illinois. So I handed those out with my QR code and the QR code for the event on the flyer. So again, but again, even then, during the show, I needed reminders to myself. Oh, I just let someone walk away without a flyer. Like, you just, you can do stuff like that. Hand out, time your convention and say, okay, my next Kickstarter is in 2 months, hand them a flyer with your, Kickstarter code, or say, if you use this code, or whatever, buy from my web store, I'll throw something, extra in for you, something like that. So there are things you can do intangibly. And I do feel like, that's the most difficult part of a convention to quantify, right? How many of these people that walked away will I interact with again in the future? You don't know, but it certainly is a cool feeling when you do a lot of local shows and all of a sudden you get people saying, "Oh, I saw you at C2E2, or I saw you at a local show," and that has value in it too, right?
Yeah.
So again, I know the article was a little clickbaity and kind of focusing on the negative, but I hope it didn't come off that way to people, because again, I was just kind of reporting the facts. Some people gave me actually some great advice that I still to this day, everybody tells me I leave too many comics flat on the table. And I don't know if you have a picture of your setup handy, or how you set it up.
I can bring it up.
But I should pull mine up. Maybe I can show it to the camera. I felt like, to be honest with you, I had some books up. I didn't feel like I used the rack appropriately. I do have a large steel rack, and I put my metal covers and things that I didn't think people would want to pick up, but they would want to see. And maybe I'm taking the wrong approach with that, because I'm using that space for product that just doesn't move. Those metal covers rarely ever sell at a show because they're pretty high price items. Let me see if I can pull mine up while we look both here.
All right. Yeah, I have mine.
Okay.
So while you're pulling yours up, this is my booth setup. I have my booth babe here too, but my booth has all of my stuff sitting upright. Truth be told, I have seen one gentleman, Neil, and his last name escapes me. He had his books upright and then 2 in the front, but open flat, so people could walk by and flip through. And he says that it doesn't really change anything. Like, he just kind of thinks it looks cool, and the table setup might catch somebody, but
I like your setup. I think it looks clean. I think it looks inviting. I think mine, because I have so many books, I'm just still very stubborn about cutting them, because I'm like, well, I really like this book, or, we worked hard on this book. I want them all on the table, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to be more, choosy about which ones I put out. I do have the stands too, and I just felt like I wanted people to see that there was multiple issues in it, and I think that kind of almost made it feel like there was too many to look at. I feel like you're right, though. My other thought was it was intentional, because on a really crowded con, and I expected that Saturday, the people walk by and don't look up at you.
Right.
They look down. They're like, and I wanted the zombie horde to see the flat books, and I feel like it actually worked. So like my table neighbor, Jonathan Grimm and Crystal Wilson gave me this advice. They both said, you have to be vertical. And I said, yeah, normally, like, I want the books up, and I do, but I'm telling you, when it's real busy and they're walking by real slow, they're going to look down. And I felt like it actually worked, because they kept coming, "Oh, Drumsticks of Doom, what's that about?" Because they would see the logo flat. I had some books up again, like the trade and some other things.
Right.
What's Child Possession Services about? Because they're all looking down while they walk by. So maybe I was wrong about that, but I don't know. I don't know what the best answer is.
Truthfully, I don't really think there is. I think maybe if you had a variety, it might be better. Like, have some laying flat and some vertical. But even me, when I had them laying flat too, and I had them open to certain pages that I thought was cool, like Path of the Pale Rider. It was Big James's first show up and everything. So I had that. Cool. Yeah. So that was cool. And that did get some eyes. People are like, "Oh, that's really cool." But people still are afraid to pick up the book and look at it.
And I part of my book too is it lays there, and I put on it a label that says "Pick me up, read me," so
does
people know. I feel like it does. It gives them permission. Or as they approach, I'll say, they're meant to be picked up. They're comic books. The art's the best part inside, and then that kind of gives them the, But again, I've literally labeled the book. This is the proofreader copy. You can manhandle this book all you want, stuff like that. But again, all these tips can help. Again, we could probably go back and forth. You know how it is. You set up the first hour of the show, and by the last hour, it's totally different because you're tweaking and moving stuff around.
Right.
So maybe we play with it too much, but I definitely think I had too much, and mine's not on the, let me try to share my screen.
You were so disappointed that you're like, I'm not going to show this. I'm not going to take a picture.
No, you can't see it on the phone.
No, you can't see that at all.
It's fine.
You could drop it to me and I can throw it. But no, I think you're right. And I get a lot of tips, and yes, tips are valuable. Like, I will never be upset for somebody saying like, "Hey, do you want a tip about how you could sell your books better?" Da da da. But at the same time, though, I don't think there's ever a right or wrong answer. It's kind of like setting up a Kickstarter. There's never any right or wrong answer on how to do things.
Yes, there's a couple tried and true things that we all want to avoid, right? I definitely learned that I had a long box because you and I both do this. I've taken on other people's books, whether it's through retailer tiers or trades with people. And I have a box of indie books, but not a single person has ever looked through it.
Same.
It's just if they were at a booth and they saw 20 long boxes, they would look through the long boxes. But when it's at an individual, publisher or author book, they don't want to look through a box. They want to look at what's out. So I've definitely confirmed that is difficult to get people to do. So I don't know what approach I can take with, because I do have some books, from people like yourself, and I want to help get those books out there, but I haven't figured out the best way. I also do there we go. My peer, Winston Gambro, who worked on LCS with me, he puts issue 1 up like you have it, and then he puts issue 2 behind it. He does not, I see how I put each issue in succession.
Yeah.
He does not do that. And I saw quite a few people do this. If they have too many books in succession, they just let the person look at the first issue and then inform them, hey, there's 2 issues and you can get both for $10 or whatever.
Right.
And I think that was probably my fault too. And you see to the right, stage left to the right here, I tried to display the variants because I have a lot of cool variants, but they just don't get airtime at conventions. So I had an 8-foot table. I tried to use it, but you can see how cluttered the metal stand looks back here. I probably should have had a second stand on the right, and just, like I said, depowered is 1 row, CPS is 1 row, not displaying each issue, but just like the first issue, and then let people kind of pick and choose, as they pick up a comic, inform them, oh, this is actually a 3-issue series. And I, again, still something I can learn,
Yeah. I do like your little notes in the front of the table, though. I can't read what they say.
Yeah. And that was the other thing Crystal had for me. She walked by my table and said, the handwritten notes, I can't read them when I'm quickly walking by. So you do want bigger print, clear.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. I
can't read them because it's a picture, but
right. I feel like, though, as you walk up, you start to go, when you're focusing on a book, and then right below it says social worker for possessed children, post-apocalyptic comic about collecting comics. So, but I definitely do need some more professional and not so DIY signage. That's definitely fair. And again, I should have kept these metal comics at home, use that rack more effectively, get that box off the table, and just kind of,
I think so. I had, and you can see on mine again, where I had Oog here.
Oog.
And that is a variant cover. And then behind it, I had the others.
Okay.
So if anybody picked it up and they were like, oh, here's Oog, and then they picked it up again and they're like, oh, a different cover. And they're like, is it the same? And they like one or the other. That's how I had it set up. But it's also too, I only had this little 8-foot table. So that was more of a logistics type thing on what I valued more. And J. Michael Hammond, I liked his cover a little bit more than the original. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think maybe taking the variants and also the metal covers is good, but I wouldn't have displayed them. I would have maybe, if you were talking about it, could have been like, hey, if I do have the variant covers. So I know I've had gotten some people say, do you have a different cover before? But that's very few and far between. So I don't think,
And it's so funny though, because the few times I've been able to have enough room to display them, I feel like each time I've gotten at least one person to come up and go, oh, that cover's so cool. And they're not exceptionally more expensive, but they do bring in more money than the regulars. Yeah. So it's I'm always struggling with do I want to display the $10 book or the $5 book, which, is just always a tough. I did think of something though while I was at the convention. So this will be again, so people don't think I was just sitting there mad the whole time. I walked past the portfolio guy, the guy who sells the books for portfolio art.
Yeah.
And again, my table neighbor, Jonathan Grimm, he has 2 huge books where it's all his prints because he does, mostly prints and tarot cards. People constantly flipping through. So I bought an 8.5 by 11 one, and I'm going to put the variants in there. And then if I'll put it out and say on the front, rare variants or, 1 in 10 incentive covers. And then if people want to go further, because they're like, "Ooh, I like what you have," I can be like, "Oh, would you like to flip through this book of rare and, almost out of print books that we have?" And then maybe they'll flip through. So I'm going to try that. And then it's kind of a cool piece to put on the table. And then people want to flip through it while they stand there.
Yeah.
See what I got, what's in the book, I'm going to try it. If not, I just have a portfolio book that I bought that I can put art in. So no big deal.
Right. Maybe display cool prints that you have or something.
But I will say the Argyle's work, they don't sell well, but they're a talking piece. They bring tons of people to the table. So I do think that's helped. I still haven't figured out, I need a way to prop them up or hang them up. I did not have a tall enough banner stand, as you see, because half my stand is a little block there. But, always improvements you can make.
I will tell you right now, this for our banner stand and everything, it was so cramped back here. Like
I know.
This everything needed to be pushed slightly more out.
And
a breathing room.
This will show my naivety to big conventions. I kind of forgot, especially at the big shows, you have no room at all. Like they pack you in there. I almost knocked my poor banner stand on this lady behind me multiple times, trying to go.
Oh, I did.
I knocked over my rack because this back here, where the Argyles are. Yeah. I brought a small 4x2 table to give myself a little more space, which worked. But then that limited. I already had such limited space, so it was kind of rude to my neighbors. And when John came on Saturday, we were just packed. I can never split a table with anyone anymore. I'm sorry, that was so rude to John. We made the best of it. We took half of my books off the table, but I put us both behind the 8 ball by making that choice. And now he had the table to himself Sunday, so I think it was good. But I could
do pretty good.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well. He admitted, and overall it was a slow convention for him too, but he's only got, a couple books in print. So he's still trying to make it work. But yeah, I just have to know that about myself. You have too much shit, John. You've made too many comics over the years. Unless I'm going to leave and just focus, like these are the 2 books for the weekend.
Right.
Splitting just can't happen. It's just, even with this, now these tables at the convention center are, they're more food serving tables. So they're not as deep as like a folding table you might get at another convention. So that's a factor too. Even though they tell you you're getting an 8-foot table, you're getting 8 foot by 2 foot instead of 6 foot by 3 foot.
Right.
So you see how I can't even barely fit, 3 full issues on the table. So yeah, just again, some of the quirks of these bigger conventions that I had kind of forgotten, being out of the loop,
Yeah. Sorry, everything crashed on.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure mine did too.
Yeah, on OBS. I don't know about the Substack, but the Facebook and the Instagram did not do well at all. Oh, apparently we are live on. Oh, now it shows me that we're live on Facebook? Substack.
Oh, nice. It's live on my Substack too, and I think YouTube. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us to hear us grumpy old men talk, but also to kind of problem solve, because we are hoping to go different platforms in the future.
Yeah, I kind of like this Substack though. I feel like it gets a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, wait till you see it afterwards too, because you get those highlighted clips and it downloads it for you. So if you want to upload it somewhere else, and if you don't go live to YouTube, when you share it out on your Substack, like you can make a post about it, it shares it automatically. You can link it to your YouTube and automatically upload it there. So it's kind of anything that saves us, 30 seconds at a time is like huge, right?
For the record, we could just exclusively go, like we could cut out the YouTube channel and just go exclusively onto Substack. Like,
yeah, I still feel like again, if we're going to upload it afterwards off the Substack anyway, then why not? But
Yeah.
We'll see. We get the most interaction on YouTube as we in the past, but that could all change.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, we got a couple of people here in the Substack, and I'm managing the chat, and nobody said anything. But maybe they're just looking to say, "Holy fuck, these guys are weird and they're elderly," and I'm like, I'm not that old, jeez. But no, I think I've said this, and I know I've already said this a moment ago. It's like, I don't think there's any real, there are some things that you should do that are concrete when it comes to having a table. Like, for the longest time, I didn't have a banner, and that's 101. Like, have a banner, uh, have your books neatly organized. Like, don't look keep things clean and tidy. But when it comes to sales tax and everything, the one thing that I can say that most people don't like is when you yell at them. When you're like, "Hey, come over here, come read this. Do you want this? Blah blah blah."
And I have peers that swear by it. They always do the, "Can I tell you about my book?" and hand it to them as they're walking by.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they're not. They have their results. I mean, people are successful in different ways, but that's just not. I've just never been that way.
That's just not my style either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll wait until you come to the table unless I'm you're
and I will say close. If you look up, I'll say, "How you doing?" and then see if they engage. Of course you want to put some interaction into it, but I'm not going to chase them down the street.
Yeah. You don't want to ignore your people. And actually, Lori made me a QR code that when you scan it, it links to a video talking about her book. And nice. I'm gonna put that on the table, and I'm gonna prop it up with her Pale Rider and see if that helps too. Because then people can be like, "Ooh, what's that?" and then they'll scan it.
Yeah. Now, again, this is something we could debate and get. And if anybody else has opinions, leave us a comment. I put mine on it's on my 2 banner stands, the big one and the small one. I don't point it out to them until they look like they're ready to disengage, because I feel like if you just give them a scan, they're just going to scan it, walk away, and intend to come back at some time. I want them to at least engage. I don't want it to be obvious, so they just come up and scan. But or I used to have one on a clipboard, so when I used to do paper mailing list, I would turn over the clipboard and say, "This is a QR code to our mailing list." Once we've kind of had a conversation that they can kind of remember, but that's just kind of how I do it.
Yeah, I don't.
I love your coaster. The coaster idea is great.
Thank you. I like the coaster idea. I think I got a. Thanks for reminding me. I actually got to order more.
Because I don't even do the business card anymore. I throw them away. Everyone throws them away. I do a QR code. That's more likely they'll check their phone later. It's in their browser or whatever.
Yep.
Business cards, I just don't feel like do anything. You get once in a while, you get the older people who don't, want to scan the QR code. I give them a sticker with the QR code on it. But yeah, I don't. I think we have to think of items that they'll use and be around, like the coaster, or I don't know, a cigarette lighter or a pen or something. I don't know, something where they're
a cigarette lighter
or like a magnet on their fridge, right? If they have
right,
and then they'll see it. Oh, 2 months later, they'll be like, "Oh, what's going on with those rolling squid bones?"
Right. Could you imagine that? Passing out business cards and somebody hands you a fucking lighter.
Bro, spark up, bro.
Bro, do you want to or give them a blunt paper?
Yeah, rolling papers. Smoke your
rolling paper.
No, it has to be something they're not going to use.
Oh no, I smoked my last
oh no.
I smoked the rolling squid bones thing. Man, I would 100% that. I'm sorry, that would just be absolutely hysterical. I would love that so much.
That would be fun. I'm gonna do it now. Even though I've never smoked a day in my life, but I'm gonna push that on the people.
But you're gonna be the problem.
It's only for harmless tobacco, everyone. Okay. It's still.
How did you? Why did you start smoking? Part-time comic said it was cool.
Comics.
I would love that. I would love that to pieces. No, but I think you are right, and I think it should be at the time where we say, "Hey, let's do," because it's just pulpboard coasters.
Yeah, and I had them printed, but I didn't do the QR code. I did them as a incentives, as a reward for backing. I could never find any that were cheap.
I think for mine for 200, it was $130.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like that's a lot to be handing everybody 50 cents, but maybe not.
I mean, considering, because I know, what was it, Sticker Mule, I think was more when I
Yeah, I think
used them.
once in a while you can get, where they give you 50 for $20 or something. I try to wait for that,
Yeah. So, and honestly, I know Sticker Mule is pretty
Yeah.
controversial and all that. And I try to stay away from them, but when they're like, "Hey, you can get this for, yeah, it's 200." Okay, I guess it's the same price now.
Wow.
For 200
But still,
for Sticker Mule.
again, that's
Yeah.
something tangible that's, if somebody takes it, they're probably not just going to toss it out. I put them on the
Probably.
table before too, like, oh, you want to talk to me, but you're holding a drink. I have this spot where you can put your drink, and that kind of,
Take it with you.
that kind of engages them too,
Right, right. And then I mean, I've had people be like, "Oh man, that's awesome. I need a coaster." I'm like, "I know you do, you fucker." But anyway, yeah,
But
I just
speaking of setting up how we set up our tables, I think one of the things that actually scares people off at this point is that I have 7 issues of Drumsticks of Doom. Once I get to that, they usually are just like, I'll take the first issue,
yeah.
which is fine. Take something, maybe you'll come back later. But then I end up, I don't know, having them all out almost kind of overwhelms them. Like,
Yeah.
7 issues, that's so much. But I'll tell them, oh, the more you buy, I'll wrap them in a bundle. But it does get difficult. I would recommend anyone in the future, don't make your series more than 4 issues if you can. If that helps. Because it's
I
like
agree.
the first 4 sell fine, and then the second arc is not. There's just like people are like, I'll get it when it's finished, or that's too much.
Yeah. Well, I usually that's why with the next arc that's happening, because then we have, Bark in the Waters coming as well, is that I can just tell people, hey, you can get the first arc, which is 4 issues. You can get the second arc that's 4 issues, but you don't need to read the first arc because the second arc is about a different character. Like, it's just they're in the same universe, and the character from the first arc is Ginger's the main character in the second arc. And she's
and I try to tell people that too. I say, think of them as seasons in a TV show. If you can jump in at any season, but you'll be more rewarded if you watched all the seasons.
And people still don't like that.
People don't like that.
And it's the same thing with, like, I do get people where they'll ask me, I'll be like, oh yeah, we got the trade. It's all 4 issues bundled, into one. And they'll be like, well, do you only have the first issue? And I'm like, so you can't win right. You can't really win with the customers. So I just think the tips are just, try to convince them you're getting the bang for your buck. Like, even if you buy the first issue, chances are it's like, when are they going to see you again to get the second issue?
Right.
Like, and I've ran into that before where I'll be like, oh, cool, there's the first issue, but then I got to wait, until I see you in Once in a Blue Moon. And by the time I forget,
right.
And then,
speaking of which, I just filled out the survey for your book. Will it be coming soon? Is it coming soon? Has it been ordered?
It's never coming.
I'm trying.
No, it is. It is. I got the quote. I just got to send the files over.
Let's see it. Is it up on your store yet? What book are we expecting soon? And what's next? What I don't even know what you have coming up after that.
You mean the Set the Hook, the volume? Well, the second volume is being put together, or the first volume is being put together.
As we speak, it could be being printed and glued.
No, I just got no, not that yet.
Oh,
it's being put together, and I'm putting the files together. I'm getting everything ready.
Right. I thought it was
but I got the quote. I got all that ready, and all I gotta do is send them the files to get everything printed. So we're good.
Nice.
It looks like that pretty much everybody has filled out their survey. Actually, I think everybody has filled out their survey. Nope. Nice. We're missing a couple people.
Darn.
We're missing.
Who says it out today? So that's pretty good.
Yeah. But how dare you, Christopher Brown, have not?
It always cracks me up too that it's always like the seasoned veterans of comics that never freaking fill out. You do this all the time and you don't even know.
That's because you have my address. Like, sometimes there are people like Carissa and like you and
I know, but you could have moved and stuff, There's
but I would have told you.
There's a gentleman who will go unnamed, J. Michael Miller. He every time I love that you back. That's so kind of you. But fill out your damn survey.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're neurotic, we make comics. We want it to all be in order.
We want it to go because honestly, if you don't fill it out, I'm gonna forget your.
I have to people I know personally. I've shipped, but I know there's gonna be that one time I ship, and then the person right after I send it in the mail will say, "Oh, my address changed," and I'll be like,
"Yeah." I feel like that it is always a better safe than sorry type deal.
Yeah, and I don't think people will be mad once they realize you'll be like, "Yeah, I know it's been a year, but you never did fill out the survey." And I'll email them personally and be like, "Hey, can we get this wrapped up?"
Yeah, and then usually, like, if I didn't fill out the survey, it's like you can just poke me and be like, "Hey, Chad."
Poke.
But I will be too 9 times out of 10. I'm only gonna fill it out so that stupid red bar goes away.
That god,
because I hate that red bar. But what's next though? I'll tell you right now. But while you're getting that all booted up, is once that's all shipped out, printed, shipped. I ordered the stickers. I'm ordering the metal bookmarks and all the other goodies that y'all ordered. I am doing, hopefully in the fall, depending, Bark in the Water, it's written with me, Lori Calcaterra, J. Michael Hammond, Frank Martin, and of course yours truly, John Westhoff, as well. What?
Don't tell him that.
Oh, okay.
I ain't signed no contract.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. But it is us are doing about a little chihuahua in a salmon suit, and it is set in the world of Hell's Aquarium. It is technically the bridge between the first and the second arc, but it is just a series of like standalone stories. So the only one that is a bridge, it is a bridge, is the one that I wrote. Gotcha. The rest are more like the legends of.
Nice.
So, and when I mean legends, they all really did happen.
Well, and I appreciate you inviting me. So I look forward to finally getting that out. Hopefully, as we wrap up, I have a Kickstarter live right now. 1 weekend, 1/3 funded. It's slow going, but it's steady going. We appreciate it. 92 backers already. This is all the issues. This is the finale. If we can get this done, you won't have to hear me talking about Kickstarters for a couple months while I make all 3 issues. Why are we doing it all at once? Because again, we have a lot of backers who come back for the books. I thought I'd kind of offer them a subscription plan, so to speak, and just kind of get them all. We're also preparing. We have a partnership with Massive and Lunar Publishing now, distribution. So we have a lot of things that we have to line up at the same time. So why not, again, just do them all at the same time and get them out there. So it'll be ready for retail. It'll be ready for backers, and we'll be ready to finish the series this summer, including in August or September, the final trade paperback. So this year is all about Drumsticks of Doom. All Drumsticks of Doom all the time, getting it finished. It's been 5 years Dan and I have been working on it. So we figured why not just go all in on it this year. He can be finally free of the burden of the chains of drawing this comic of ours. And he can go on to bigger and better things. But I'd appreciate any shares, again, as we always say on here. We know everybody can't back, but if you can give it a share, that really helps in these difficult algorithm times to get the word out there.
Yeah. Also, I found cheaper coasters. I'm going to send them to you.
Please. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like I'm very excited. I actually just backed Drumsticks of Doom because I'll be totally honest with you. I didn't realize you had a Kickstarter going on. I haven't
been working at you enough. That's all right.
No, you haven't. you haven't emailed me and been like, Chad, I see you haven't backed yet, and like held a gun at me, and I don't
know. And don't feel bad. It's so many things going on.
Yeah,
but many. I feel like this happens. I just do not get the first week funding anymore. I used to all the time. We'll always end up around 200 backers, 175, 180, but they very slowly trickle in. We're one of those weird companies that they eventually come. But I don't know. I think I'm blacklisted on some social medias or emails. I don't know, but it seems like people will eventually find out about it. It just takes the whole campaign to really get people to go, oh yeah, you do have a campaign. And I'm like, I feel like I talk about it too much and you're telling me you don't even see it. Like,
I think that's what it is that they're like, we don't want these people escaping to other websites.
Yeah, for sure.
And because it's you actually just
even emails, I think they push them to spam, or if it's not their advertising or their partners, they don't let people see it,
Yep. No, I agree.
All we can do is fight against it.
We can fight against the government. I mean, really, you're not wrong in that case. Just fight against the government and see. Because I remember, I know you guys have been. Finally, I've learned my lesson to not put my links in the actual description, just put them in the comments, because Facebook and them don't want you to leave their website.
Yep. People always comment and be like, you didn't post the link. And it's like, that's purposeful, because if someone else posts the link, it's better for you. If you post the link later, that's all better, because they don't want it in the main post.
Right. They don't. And
now, you used to be able to put a picture with a QR code, but now they can see that and they still squash it.
Oh, really?
Those tricky AI people.
I don't get that.
Yeah, like you said, they just want it. They want the dollars coming through them. Advertise.
Yep.
Which we may all end up having to give in to soon enough, but I'm still fighting the good fight.
And even then, your dollars aren't. They're
well
the advertising's not even worth it either.
Oh, it's not.
Buying the thing, but
Well,
all right. Well,
everybody hanging out with us. Well, I know it was a little bit different of a type of show for us. If you enjoyed this, let us know. If not, we'll just continue to force you to listen to whatever we feel like talking about every week.
Exactly. And if you're like, hey, who the fuck are these guys? Well, I'm Chad.
And I'm also Chad.
And I'm also Chad.
We are 2/3 of the cosmos, but we always talk about having guests on. So if you have something you want to come and talk about, you want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm an idiot, I need to do 24 conventions a year, somehow flip myself in half and do 2 a weekend.
Listen, if you could do that, I'd be very impressed.
I do feel like there needs to be more conventions that do evening hours. That's something you and I should work on, Chad.
I think that would be great. If you could tell me,
like a flea market style from 2 to 10.
There's a
That's where people spend money when they're drunk at night. Come on, what are we doing?
That's why I'm doing the bourbon convention. That's why I'm doing the bourbon festival.
That's why I love the brewery shows, man. They come up, like I said, you have the coaster on your table. They put it down. They talk to you. They're having a beer. Oh, what are you drinking?
Exactly.
Although I did have one very inebriated father come up to the table, telling me very scandalous things about women in the industry he didn't like, and I was like, "Did I look like I wanted to talk to you about this? Isn't that your kid standing next to you? Jesus Christ! It's 10 in the morning, man. Put the beer down."
Wasn't there the guy that wasn't there the person who said that they don't like social workers?
Yeah, that guy was not even inebriated. He was just
he wasn't even
a colorful character. He might have been.
He wasn't even drunk. He was just mad.
He was just big mad.
but all right, guys, we will see you next time.
Later.
Bye. I think I stopped it. There we go.